First, a warning that some of the information I'm about to share may be very distressing to some viewers. 2 illegal migrants raped a child in a park just months after breaking into Britain on a small boat. Afghan asylum seekers Jan Jahanzeb and Isra Niazal committed the horrific attack on a 15-year-old schoolgirl in a park in Leamington Spa. Now, today, they were sentenced to jail terms of 10 years and 8 months and 9 years and 10 months, respectively. Now, at the time of the attack, they were living in taxpayer-funded asylum accommodation. So you were paying for their accommodation when they went outside and they raped a schoolgirl. Again, some of the details I'm about to reveal are very graphic, but I think that they need to be heard. And as you're about to hear, well, I very nearly wasn't allowed to tell you about any of them. One of the Afghans managed to drag the girl away to a secluded area. He then rang the other Afghan and told him to come quick, where they made her perform a sex act on them. She had the presence of mind to record the start and the aftermath of that depraved attack, and a statement from her lawyer says, the video footage is of a highly distressing nature. She's heard screaming for help. She wants her friends. She wants to go home. She's heard explicitly saying, you are going to rape me, let me go. She's pleading for help from passers-by, but tragically that plea for help went unanswered. During the video, Jahanzeb is heard telling her to shush. He can be seen to put his hand over her mouth, presumably in an effort to silence her. She recalls being terrified and wanting the ordeal to be over quickly. Both illegal migrants admitted a single charge of rape of a child under 16 when they appeared before magistrates in Coventry in October. But the reason we're allowed to report on it now is because the judge has lifted reporting restrictions. The barristers for both of these Afghan child rapists had claimed that if we knew their names, their nationality, and the fact that they were small boat migrants, then it might lead to widespread public disorder.
What happened on Patrick Christys' show last night was not just another political debate. It was a complete demolition. A Labour councillor walked onto that set thinking they would defend the party line on immigration and justice. But what they got instead was a real lesson in accountability that left them stammering, deflecting, and ultimately exposed. The discussion focused on a shocking rape case involving 2 illegal Afghan migrants who attacked a 15-year-old girl in Leamington Spa shortly after arriving in the UK by small boat. But this is where things became even more explosive. There were initial reporting restrictions that tried to hide the perpetrators' identities, their nationality, and even how they entered the country. Patrick did not just question the policy. He broke it down piece by piece while the Labour councillor sat there visibly uncomfortable, trying again and again to defend something many viewers felt was impossible to defend. British politics like this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the British I Believe It, or not over 98% of viewers watch our content without hitting the follow button. Subscribing is completely free. Before we get into exactly what Patrick said that left the Labour councillor completely speechless, do me a quick favour. Hit that subscribe button right now. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing, and it costs absolutely nothing. It takes 2 seconds, but it means everything to us here at British Eyes. Did you click it? Brilliant. Now, let's get back to the chaos.
Well, thankfully, the judge said that it was in the public interest for us to know what really happened and, crucially, who these monsters are. In fact, let's just have a little look at how they were originally described when they were charged. They were described in the press as 2 17-year-old boys from Leamington. That's how they were described. 2 17-year-old boys from Leamington. And it turns out, of course, that those 2 17-year-old boys from Leamington were actually from Afghanistan and had arrived in this country illegally on small boats before committing that horrendous attack. One of the rapists, Jahanzeb, turns 18 in less than a month and will automatically be deported after serving his sentence. He tried to get to Britain 3 times on a small boat, but failed. In fact, twice his boat was apparently slashed by the French, but he got in at the 4th attempt in January. Niazal pleaded guilty to the rape a day before he turned 17, meaning he cannot be automatically deported. In fact, his barrister even claimed that he might still be able to make a life for himself after he served his sentence. I'm going to read you the victim impact statement here from that 15-year-old victim. She said, "The day I was raped changed me as a person. I'm no longer a happy, carefree teenager. This was my first sexual experience. Now, every time I go out, I don't feel safe. This has also impacted my education and school life and the worst possible time as I'm taking my GCSEs. The thought of facing people at school makes me feel physically sick. Watching my older siblings and mum feeling crushed as they believe they should have been there or done something is particularly painful for me. I hate that I'm now looked at as a victim, even though that's exactly what I am." How many more of these cases have there been? How many will we never know about because the judge decided that they actually weren't going to lift reporting restrictions? And that's one of the key aspects to this. In how many cases has the judge decided that it was not in the public interest to know about illegal migrants raping or doing something else towards people in this country? If the truth is so awful that it might cause public unrest, the solution is to sort the problem out, not hide it from us and hope that we never find out. Let's get our thoughts on my panel. Daily Express columnist Carol Malone. We have got Reform member and former Conservative Party chairman Sir Jake Berry and Labour councillor Sebastian Sala. So, Carol, lots to unpack here. Firstly, I would actually like to thank the judge in this case for, I think, doing the right thing and deeming that that this is in the public interest, that we know all of this. But how do you feel about the fact that it was, I suppose, attempted to cover up the names, the nationalities and the mode of entry into Britain from these two people?
Interesting that it was a female judge who lifted these restrictions, because she, unlike a man, might understand the impact of rape on a young woman. You know, that impact statement there, it's heartbreaking, because that's a young life ruined. That girl will never get over what has happened to her. She was a virgin when this happened to her. She will never get over this. And her mother said in her impact statement, she said, "Something broke in us all that day." And that's what these kind of crimes do to families. It's the victim suffers the most clearly, but it's the family around and the guilt they feel at not being able to help their daughter. It is astonishing that these two barristers, one of them is called Joshua Ratcliffe. He's the guy who said that one of the rapists might come out of prison and have a lovely life. He doesn't deserve a life because he's wrecked a life. He's wrecked a life of an innocent girl. But the fact that the barristers try to say that to make this public could cause widespread disorder, they're not getting it. They're not getting what's happened. The disorder isn't the problem. The girl's rape is the problem and what is going to happen to her. And this is why a lot of the courts aren't just getting... And you're right. How many more of these do we not know? We know that girls have been sexually assaulted. We always knew this was going to happen, and this will not be the last time. And it probably isn't the first time either. And it's time our justice system opened up and actually looked after British citizens and British people and not the people who come here illegally.
Let's be clear about what happened here. 2 Afghan nationals arrived in the country illegally by small boat and were later placed in taxpayer-funded asylum accommodation. Within weeks, they committed one of the most disturbing crimes imaginable, the brutal assault of a 15-year-old girl in a public park. The victim's impact statement spoke about lifelong trauma, constant nightmares, and a sense of safety that had been shattered forever. But what pushed Patrick over the edge was something else. The initial reporting restrictions that could have hidden the attackers' names, nationality, and immigration status from the public. Patrick's response was immediate and intense. Whose interests were being protected? Certainly not the victim, and definitely not the British public. Then a Labour councillor stepped into what quickly became a verbal trap. Patrick asked a direct and simple question. Why should the British public trust Labour on immigration when cases like this appear to show serious failures in the system? The councillor responded with the usual political avoidance, speaking about complexity, compassion, and the need not to judge entire communities by the actions of individuals. Patrick was not prepared to accept that answer. He cut straight through the political language and pointed to the central issue. 2 individuals had taken advantage of a broken system, committed a terrible crime, and were close to having their identities protected by the very institutions that are supposed to deliver justice.
We have depressingly had several cases that have been very, very similar to this. I mean, there was one recently of an Iranian man who was found guilty, he'd been in the country not long at all, and he raped a 15-year-old girl in a park in Oxford. This keeps happening, Jake. It does keep happening.
Well, it does. I mean, of course, there's the Epping Hotel, the migrant sucking a young woman around the Epping Hotel, which we all heard so much about over the summer. this is going to keep happening as long as we have no hard border in our country, as long as people from around the world are coming here with no history, no documents, no knowledge about their background. And let's make no bones about it, lots of these people are trying to import to the UK a medieval culture when it comes to women and women's rights. You know, one we wouldn't recognise in this country, where women aren't even second-class citizens, they're third or fourth-class citizens. And it's that sort of mindset, I believe, that means that people who come to this country feel that they can behave in this way. It's completely alien to our culture. Now, guess what? There's a reason they want to come to the UK, because it is a better place to live than Iran or Afghanistan or Somalia or wherever else it may be. But that's not part of the deal. If you come to our country, number one, you should come in legally. But if you do come in illegally and you want to claim asylum funded by the British taxpayer, don't play by our rules. Come to our country, play by the laws of the country you so desperately want to come and live in.
They shouldn't have been here, those.
Of course they shouldn't have been, Carol.
Yes, especially, what do you make of their barristers' attempts to have their names, their nationality and their mode of entry into the UK, basically have it, I suppose you could say, covered up about the fact that they were illegal migrants and their nationality? What do you make of the barristers' attempts to have that happen?
Well, I'm pleased that the judge said no and made that call, and we know who they are. I think it's fair that the judge did that. I'm not surprised the barristers did it. At the end of the day, their job is protecting the person that they are working for. So, of course, they're going to try and make those arguments as to just the nature of the legal system, really. I think what's important here is that, sadly, and you talk about these attitudes being imported, sadly, a lot of people who are born in Britain and who live in Britain and are from Britain also have those attitudes, and that is a real problem.
But trying to hide the nationality, it's cynical and it's insidious. It's not actually protecting, it's not about protecting their clients, it's about protecting the nationality of their clients. Because we know that in this country, through data, that Afghans are 22 times more likely...
Oh no, Carol, don't use that statistic.
Yes,
no, don't do it. It's been debunked.
Well, I've done it.
Okay,
I've done it.
Okay, let's talk about this, because this is important. Because you've just used a number that is provably wrong. Please talk me through that number.
What do you mean, talk you through?
So how do you reach the figure?
It's government statistic.
No, it's not a government statistic. How did you reach that figure?
Okay,
so there are two numbers there. The first is the...
But let's concentrate on the rape of the girl, actually.
Of course, that is... above all else, that is important. But let's not change the subject.
You're trying to take me... This is a statistic that's been repeated time and time again.
Yes, falsely.
Is it...
Falsely.
OK, so just on that, are you claiming, Sebastian, that Afghans are, in fact, no more likely to sexually assault women and girls, or are you disputing the sheer volume?
I'm specifically disputing the 20 times.
Right, so you actually are acknowledging that really...
What I'm saying is I don't know.
What I would accuse you there is that I would accuse you maybe of splitting hairs.
Yes.
Because they are more likely, aren't they? They just might not be 20 times more likely.
We don't know. Is the point, because we don't even know how many Afghans there are in the country. That is one of the fundamental numbers you need to know to be able to reach that conclusion.
It's that kind of rationale that lets these people get away with what they're getting away with. And what this does for me now, this strengthens the argument that we should not...
Nobody should... Don't be
rude. That's the second time you've been rude.
Carol, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to... Nobody should get away with rape. Anybody who rapes somebody should face justice.
This strengthens the argument for processing these people offshore. They shouldn't be... People...
Really?
Said people from a different culture who treat young women like meat, which these men do and have done.
Yes, exactly.
Do you understand that this has wrecked a girl's life?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
What do you mean when I say men?
Tragedy.
I say because they're teenagers?
No. What I'm saying is the problem is men.
The problem is
men raping women. That is an endemic in our country. Violence against women is a scourge, and that's what we have to tackle. Do not tar all asylum seekers with the same brush.
Let's deal with that, because as a man, I get quite offended when people say that the problem is men. I've never had a desire to rape a woman in my life. I've never had a desire to sexually...
Exactly. So think about how Afghans feel, who also haven't had that, but are being maligned because of it.
What I would say is, right, why is it so common then in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in parts of Sudan, in huge swathes of the Muslim world? Why is it...
What I'm telling you, Patrick, is it's common here as well.
OK, not
so
quite.
I think the real question is, though, looking at this poor 15-year-old girl, is if the government had control of our borders, or alternative...
British politics like this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the British I Believe It, or not over 98% of viewers watch our content without hitting the follow button. Subscribing is completely free.
If these people who've entered the country illegally have been arrested on a beach in Kent and put in a offshore or had been put in a camp to be processed there, would this girl have been raped? And the answer to that is no. She wouldn't have been raped by these individuals. And that tells you the really important thing about this. It isn't about this poor young girl or these appalling rapists. It's about actually a call coming out from the British people to say, these people should not be here. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't have the chance to commit this crime. Whether they're more likely to or not, they just shouldn't be here.
On that logic, then surely you would support a curfew for men.
That's complete and utter nonsense.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Because you're saying these are people are the problem, let's remove them. And I'm telling you, men are the problem. So why don't we remove them?
Well, this girl would not have been raped if these people hadn't have come to this country. She wouldn't have been raped by these people.
Correct.
Her parents and the British public have a legitimate call to say they shouldn't be on us. They shouldn't be in our country, full stop. If they're here, they shouldn't be on our streets. So what I would support is a curfew for asylum seekers.
Why not all men? Why not all men?
Well, because we have a right to be in this country.
So do they. They have a right to claim asylum.
They broke into our country. They are criminals.
We're part of an international asylum system. You know this.
There are safe and legal routes for them to come. These people have broken into our country.
What safe and legal routes are there?
There are safe and legal routes in Afghanistan. There are safe and legal routes in Afghanistan.
To Britain? No, we closed that.
No, we didn't. In fact, you're absolutely wrong. And in fact, the Labour government has increased the number of safe and legal routes. So you're saying that the Home Secretary was lying when she stood up in the House of Commons and said there are safe and legal routes from Afghanistan? Is that your point? That Shabana Mahmood misled the House of Commons, lying, saying there were safe and legal routes? Is that your point?
If you tell me that some of those routes are still open...
Sorry.
I'm answering your question, Jake. Please have the courtesy to listen. If that's what you're telling me...
I'm not telling you, the Home Secretary told you.
I'm willing to believe you.
Oh, you're willing to believe Shabana Mahmood?
No, I'm willing to believe you.
These people
I'm willing to believe you. Please don't put words in my mouth. It's incredibly rude.
These people should not be.
It's incredibly rude.
But also the people who crossed these two boys who crossed the Channel, they were of an age where they could have been, and probably maybe already have been, put into schools where there are lots of young girls. These people are a danger. They do not recognise the rules, the laws, the culture of this country. And I can say that with total confidence because they took this girl and they dragged her away from her friends. That's not right. And I've got to tell you what also shocked me.
Of course it's not right.
The people...
Of course rape is wrong.
By as well. This is the other thing I can't believe. This girl was screaming for help. And people, including a woman, walked by and didn't help her. I mean, that's kind of bad. That's a blooming disgrace as well. But these men, these boys, do not follow the rules of this country and the laws of this country. They think women are meat and there for the taking. And if you're saying that's normal in this country, it's not. That is not all men.
No, it's not all men. You're right about that.
That is certain cultures.
You're right about that. But in this country, it is overwhelmingly British men who commit those awful crimes. And we have to do something about it.
Per capita, it's overwhelmingly Afghans. And the truth is, you're prepared to sit on this sofa, per capita, yes, that's a mathematical concept.
Yes, but math doesn't stop you getting raped, Jake. There are many men out there who do awful things, and I'm concerned about them, and you are apologising for them.
So I'm not.
Of course you are. Of course you are, because every time I mention white British men, you start talking about Afghans again.
Well, that's what these two individuals are. Let me finish, because this is important. So I think the thing is, which I find completely wrong, and I'm sure the viewers will as well, is you're prepared to condemn the crime, this appalling crime. Of
course I am.
But you are not prepared to support anything that would see the perpetrators, these perpetrators, not come into our country or deported or processed offshore.
Because what I'm saying is we mustn't tar them all with the same brush.
You hate the crime, but you're not prepared to do anything about it.
Would you automatically deport both of these two now?
So the guy who's over 18, I think, right to deport him. I don't really know where the law stands among minors.
No, I'm not bothered about where the law stands. I want to know you in your heart.
Yeah.
Because a 15-year-old girl has been brutally raped.
Yeah.
So you tell me right now whether one of the blokes that raped her should be deported.
Of course.
So
if you are a foreign criminal in this country, you should be deported.
So you think both of them should be deported?
Well, I don't know about the guy who's because I don't know what the law is around that.
What do you mean about
what? It's about right and wrong. It's about right and wrong.
Stop. I want to get to the heart of this. I'm not going to let you weasel out of it. In your heart of hearts, do you think that the individual who is under 17
Yeah.
who did the raping should or should not be deported?
So I can't comment on this because I don't know the specific details on this case, but the principle,
Well, let me
Patrick,
tell-
is that the principle is that if you commit... No, Carol, please can I just answer a question rather than you shouting over me?
Do you want to know the
If
specific
you commit
details?
a crime
No,
in
you
this
don't.
country and you're from another country and it's a serious
But
crime,
can't
you
say
should
it,
be
can you?
deported.
Why can't
there we
you
go.
say that he should be deported? Why, so you think that that's the specific guy, 17, should be deported? Yes or no?
So the one who was an adult...
Right, but no, the other one. You know the one I'm talking
I don't know because I don't know what the law is around children in this country.
Can I tell you what the law is? Do you really want?
Go and tell me what the law is.
The law is this lad pleaded guilty to rape the day before he turned 70.
Yes.
Because he knew, his lawyer knew, that meant he couldn't be deported after he served his
there we
sentence.
go.
That's the law.
All right, well,
And it's about right and wrong, not the law. That's the truth.
it
Well,
is.
that's what I was trying.
Yes.
Look, I was trying to just get to the core of how, of morally how we feel, because I find it often people on the left like to throw morals around, and I think morally being unable to answer a question about whether or not a 17-year-old rapist should be deported back to Afghanistan. Look, personally, I'll be honest with you, mate, I find it a bit squiffy, but there we go.
He asked directly, is this acceptable? Should British taxpayers fund the housing of illegal migrants who commit serious crimes, only for the system to keep supporting them indefinitely? Once again, there was no clear answer, just deflection and references to international law. That says it all about where Labour stands, and why Keir Starmer is probably fuming that this debate even happened.